everybody? It is Calxiyn here, and today I'm going to be doing my 30,000 subscriber Q&A, and I'm so excited because you guys left me questions on Twitter, on Instagram, on my community tab, and yeah, I'm just going to answer them. And I think that more I want to connect with you guys, and I would like to do that more often. Hunter and I are actually thinking of starting a little podcast situation, and I actually did post in the community tab and on Twitter asking you guys to ask questions for that podcast. And so it's something that I've definitely been thinking about because I know that a lot of you guys probably don't feel this way just because you watch some of my other videos like my analysis or whatnot or my theories, etc. But I feel like that a lot of it can get lost in the noise when people see you as, oh, that's the girl that screams at stuff. And it's there is a time and place for screaming at things and for being excited, obviously. I love doing that. I love doing my reactions, but I feel that a lot of people get really hyper focused on that and they're like, oh my god, you're not screaming all the time. They're kind of shocked at that. And so it'd be nice to have more grounded conversations. And I feel that's kind of what we're doing today. And so I hope that you guys enjoy it. Let me know. And why don't we just get into it? So the questions are over here. I'm going to look at them, then I'm going to look back at your lovely face and we'll just get right into it. So Blizzic asked, what's a question you're hoping we'll ask and can you answer it? I think that for this one, I would like if people asked more, how can I support you as a content creator, right? And I know that, you guys may be it's time for the Patreon plug. No, a lot of people already know about those things. I think that Patreon and YouTube membership, those things are basically common knowledge at this point. But what that has done in a way is made people think, well, if I can't be a patron or if I can't be a YouTube member, I can't do anything to help. I feel that even though I'm glad that people have been less hostile towards Patreon and stuff like that, though I'm glad for that, I also think that now people have maybe in their subconscious or even just floating around in their conscious oh, well, if I can't help in that way, I can't help at all. And that's just not true. And so what I would like people to ask is that question, what can I do to support you? And how I would like to answer that is, remember, liking, commenting, and then watch time, those are things that help the video algorithmically. When you like a video and leave a comment, you're basically telling YouTube, I like that thing. I would like to engage with it. I would like other people to engage with it, in a sense, right? Other people would like engaging with it. That's basically what you're telling the video when you do those things. And so that's basically what I would suggest doing, if you have a favorite creator and you can't monetarily support them, because even though we won't necessarily make the same in ad revenue and everything like that as we do in Patreon, by you basically spreading a video, you will bring new subscribers, and some of those subscribers may be invested enough to be a patron. And I know that some people may be oh, you're basically telling me how to recruit people to give you money, but it's not about that. It's about showing you that your actions as an individual, they do matter. Your actions have a butterfly effect that could lead to more good things for the content creator that you love. So it's not even about here's how to lead people to give me money. No, it's more so about here's how your individual actions can lead to better and better results. Even if you don't have money to pledge to somebody's Patreon, you still matter, your actions still matter, your comments, your likes, that all matters, right? And I think that with comments, especially having an engaging community that people come back to, and they know that every time they comment, they're gonna have a nice discussion about this anime or this video game and stuff. I think that people very much value that still as well. And so those are all important things. And so yeah, that is what I would tell somebody that asked that. So Zeb asked, how do you manage to keep up with school, work, YouTube, and a personal life? And so let's just take work out of it, just because I haven't had a shift for an entire year now just because of COVID and everything. I still technically work there, but my 2-year anniversary passed and I haven't been in for a year. So anyway, let's just focus on school and then vocal lessons and all that musical theater stuff that I may or may not have mentioned already, YouTube and personal life. Personal life, I feel is actually kind of easy because I don't have any other friends in real life other than Hunter, and I know that that may sound sad, but university, this university was just not the moment for me. I went to a school where most of the people were commuting, and so unless you lived on residence, you weren't really, you know what I mean? It's a very big effort effort to like make friends, because if you're not like living on campus and constantly like being around those people, like everyone at the end of the day, they just want to go home, sis. You know, like it's not necessarily like high school where you're seeing the same people every day, and then you get out at 2 or 3, and then maybe like all your friends live around you, right? Like, you know, like schools usually have like districts, like a radius of people, so you could go over to your friend's house after school because you all live in the same area, right? That's not necessarily the uni life. So I think something that really helps in my case, Hunter and I, like Hunter's my best friend, but we also make videos together, so it's kind of double duty. Like we do work, but then we're also just having fun and like hanging out, and I feel like that's really what helps the channel to thrive in those cases where we're doing something together. It's not like, oh, serious content creator business. It's like we're just kind of goofing off as friends, and you guys seem to like it, so that all works out. In terms of like the school and like YouTube stuff, like the actual like scheduling type of things, okay, so this is my planner. I do have this on my Amazon influencer storefront, but this isn't like a thing of like, oh guys, like, you know, like this is like sponsored. Like, no, like my Amazon influencer storefront is basically where I can pick products and then like basically like be like, hey guys, here's a list of everything I use to keep organized. I put it in the list, and so if anybody is interested in buying it, I'll get a commission from their purchase. And it's not the company sponsoring me. It's like, if you guys want to buy it, I would get a commission. So basically what I do is I have 2 schedules in Google Docs. One of them is for YouTube, and like patrons can actually see it and access it all the time, and so they can see like what I'm doing and what I'm up to. And then I have another one for school, and so usually what I'll do is I'll make those 2 to like keep track of things, but then like week to week, on a week to week basis, I consolidate everything into this planner, and then I also like pin it on the wall. And so I may pin out like a due date list, right? But like in terms of like the week to week due dates, I'll basically like rip off all these sheets, write in what I need to write in, and put it on the wall, so you get like kind of a monthly view, right? And so say, say I have an assignment on Monday, then I won't record on Monday. I'll just do the assignment, right? And so I think that what really helps in our case is that Hunter and I, we basically only record Saturday and Sunday. Usually, like now it's kind of a bit different because we're still out of school, but usually during school, we'd only record like Saturday, Sunday, and maybe if something random dropped, like Hunter lives down the street, so like, you know, we can just run over and get organized and everything. But I think that really helps. So basically like blocking off the weekend and then using the rest of the week to just focus on school, right? And like in the past, I would probably have to spend Monday or like Sunday night editing. Now I have the editor, so that's obviously very helpful. But before, I was editing everything, so I would just do it on Monday. So that would basically leave me Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to like do school stuff. And I think that something like that you guys should probably keep in mind is that this isn't to minimize myself or my accomplishments. I know that I work hard in my marks in terms of the actual work that I put in, but I feel like that's something that people should keep in mind. And this isn't like a brag, but material comes very easy to me. Like I learn very easily. I've always been academically gifted in that way. Where I fall short is getting stuff done, like time management. So I have ADHD, I don't know if you guys know that. And so my entire university experience, except for this semester, has been like doing something literally like the day that it's due and just handing it in, and everything works out. And that's, again, not to minimize the work that I've been putting into it, but the hardest part of an assignment for me is doing it, not like the writing, or not like, oh, how do I write this? How do I say this? How do I know the answer for this? It's like I always know the answer, but actually like dragging myself onto my computer and writing the essay or writing the test, that has always been like the hardest thing for me. And so in the past, I would just do everything the night before. That's how it would go. But now it's very much different in the sense that like, since I've been on my ADHD medication, if I had something due Friday, I would basically block off like, say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday after virtual class. Like I would block off those days to work on those things and not worry about YouTube stuff. And if I need it all 4 days, great. But if I don't, you know, like then we can sort of reorganize. And so yeah, that has just really helped me. Like it's a mixture of kind of luck a little bit, like your own personal skills, knowing how much you can handle, learning time management. Like I feel like that especially now, like I always had this planner, but like doing stuff the day before it's due was very prevalent until the semester, right? Like, you know, and so the planner didn't get a lot of use in that regard, like in the school regard. It only kind of got use with the YouTube. Jesno asked, when you graduate, do you plan to continue YouTube full-time, or do you have plans to start something else? So that's a very interesting question because I actually got accepted into my dream school. It's a performing arts school, like a musical theater school, and I'm going to be doing a musical theater program. And so as of right now, I don't necessarily have to think about that. Basically, my plan is I'm gonna keep doing YouTube full-time for the summer, and then back in September, I'll be in school again. I don't really know how it's gonna be yet, but yeah, after I graduate, I'm doing more school. If you're like, Cal, when you're done school, stop doing school, right? Okay, if I was done school, it would honestly depend, I guess, on the position I'm in terms of like Patreon and stuff like that. Like, do I have enough money to do everything full-time, or do I have enough money coming in and everything? And so I don't know yet, but I'm still gonna keep doing YouTube as long as they let me, And so after I graduate, my plan is more school. Talk to me in a couple of years and we'll figure out what happens after the school is over, because like I feel like that there's a lot of pressure of, oh, well, after you graduate, you have to get a job and then all of this is over. But like all of my professors and like Hunter's professors too have just been like, stay in school, sis. Like if you can financially afford it, obviously. Like if you can afford it, stay in school, because there's no job market right now for you to race off to. Like, what's the rush, right? And so I don't know how things will be after I graduate the musical program, but you know, that's sort of like my thought process is of I don't mind staying in school if it allows me to continue to build up my channel, so one day after I graduate I could do my channel full-time. That's always how I've sort of thought of school. Like obviously I'm in school to get my degrees, right? Whether that's the professional communications degree that I'm getting or like the musical theater stuff, I'm there to learn. But in the back of my head I also think, well, the longer that I'm in school, the more chances I have to actually like make something out of this that is sustainable, right? Like every year I can grow more and more until I can finally become full-time. And it's kind of like buying time. So not to stress out anyone out, but like that's sort of how I think about it, is like buying more time in that sort of way. We still have more time together, guys. Don't worry. HT82 Smash said, you have many different hair colors and styles. Do you have a favorite one? I think that's sort of, I think somebody else asked if I had a favorite wig, and I think that basically goes into that question. I do really like the blonde. Like I do like my blonde curly hair, and I do have a blonde wig, but like it's just very difficult to manage because obviously you guys can see my roots are coming in, so I think I'm actually gonna dye it back to brown, and I know that's so sad, but I do really like the curly hair blonde. I like how it looks on me. Like I feel like that it's just very like bright, like it highlights my my face really well and my skin tone, and it goes well with a lot of colors like the pink. Like I really like how it looks on me, so I would say the blonde. Like in terms of other wigs though, I do really like the other curly hair ones I have. I think I have like an orange curly hair one. I really like that one. Like I really like any wig that has like curly hair, and I do miss my blue hair. I miss it a lot. So I think that my all-time favorite hair was my blue hair, but I can't have blue hair as a performer now. And so yeah, I think that like that's my favorite hair color. Like curly blue hair is always going to be my favorite. All right, so Orange is asked, where do you buy your makeup from? I see you wearing a lot of cute eyeshadow in your videos and you look so cute in them. Well, thank you. So I have a palette, which I'm not going to be talking about because the person that made the palette is not a good person, but I was wearing that palette probably like for 2019 and then some of 2020. I don't remember when I stopped the palette. Anyway, now like what I'm wearing right now is ColourPop. It's the ColourPop rainbow like pride palette, and then I also have the Tati Westbrook palette that she released a couple of years ago, and it has like neutrals, and like if you guys have ever seen me with like pink sparkles or silver sparkles, like that's from that palette, or like gold sparkles. A lot of the time if I wear my Tinkerbell shirt, I'll do like a gold sparkle. That's from that palette. But yeah, I used to wear another one, and that's probably what this person's referring to, because I only got the ColourPop palette like a couple months ago, and then these questions were asked in March, and that was a long time ago, right? And so yeah, it's kind of weird because you're in such a weird position when you're a consumer, but then the object that you bought is also connected to like a bad person. A lot of people will break their makeup palettes and stuff, and I don't, like, you do whatever you want with the stuff that you bought, okay? None of my business. But I personally find that, like, environmentally damaging. Like, if you're going to, like, basically, like, break something that still has use in it. So I don't wear it in videos anymore. Like, now that I got the ColourPop one, I basically don't wear it at all. Like, I don't wear it in videos. I don't wear it, like, in general, but I would never, like, destroy it. You know, like, I wouldn't break it. Maybe I would try to re-gift it or something, but, like, it's always weird when you're in that situation where the item still has, like, usefulness, and it's just happens to be branded after someone that is bad. And so that's why I'm not saying, like, where it's from, because I don't want you guys, I don't want them to get any attention or, like, any, like, I don't know, promotion, I guess you could say. I don't want them to get any attention from, like, this question, and so that's why I'm not saying, like, what palette it was. Crocodile King asked, which of your videos was your favorite to work on, and what is your favorite part of making videos? And so I think that for me, it's definitely still that Barbie one, sis, the Barbie Princess and the Popper one. That was my favorite to work on. I'm just really proud of that video. The format, the script, like, everything was just chef's kiss. I want to make more videos like that. So that one was definitely my favorite. In terms of my favorite part of making videos, like, I hate editing. Let's just put it that way. That's my least favorite part. I hate editing. I like the recording process. Like, I like Hunter and I bouncing ideas off each other. I do like script writing as well, like when I'm in, like, the zone and everything. But yeah, I think that recording is probably what a lot of content creators will say is the most fun, unless they're more, like, editing inclined. I'm not editing inclined. Like, I just kind of want to be the on-camera person and let someone else take care of everything else. And so yeah, that is definitely, like, my favorite part is the recording and scripting and, like, idea part of it, like the idea brainstorming. Least favorite's probably the editing, the thumbnail, all of that, like, other stuff. How long do you usually take to edit a video? It kind of depends on what the video is. And again, I have an editor now, so, like, I don't necessarily do all the editing. I'll let you know how long this video took if I remember, because I'm editing this one. But for something like Shadow's House, it usually took me about, like, 2 hours or 3 hours because basically what I do for Shadow's House is I'll say something and then I'll stop talking to give myself, like, a signal that this is where to cut. And so it's just about making cuts, cutting out if I stop and restart a sentence, everything like that. So I would say, like, 2 hours for a Shadow's House type video. For something like Ruby, like, before, it was actually pretty easy because we didn't put any effects or anything. Like, we just sort of, again, cutting out if we messed up and started over or something like that. Like, those were pretty easy if they're, like, 10-minute or even, like, 30-minute videos were pretty, like, fine. But now, like, now that Noah does all, like, the fun stuff in the Ruby videos, I think that they're a little bit more complicated than that. And so if I did fun stuff, I don't know how long that would take. I've done fun stuff sometimes, and I think it's taken basically double the time. The more fun that you want to have with an edit and times the length. That's a mathematical formula for video editing. It's the fun that you want to have and then times the length. And so for Shadow's House, it's a 1 hour video and it usually takes, like, 2 hours, let's say, right? I'm talking about all anime analysis that run that long, by the way. Whereas with a Ruby video, it's only 10 minutes, and so usually it would take 20 minutes to edit, but if you want to do fun stuff, that's a multiplier. That's sort of how you can think about it. So Rajan asked, if your YouTube channel was a clean slate without any videos on it or any audience expectations, but still had a big following, what content would you make for it? Genre, format of video, etc. Would you make the same stuff? If you had to do it differently, what would you make? And so if I had to do it differently, my, like, optimizing brain is like 35,000 subscribers, make it a singing channel. Just because I feel like that. I do have a professional singing channel, and I don't really talk about it because I don't like those two parts of my life to, like, intersect. Like, obviously I sing on this channel, but, like, that's my, like, professional YouTube channel, so I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I keep that away from all this, like, to some extent, but that's the first thing that my mind thought of is, oh, I'll just make it a singing channel and just post singing videos. But that sort of leads me into what I'm thinking, though, like, in terms of what I would do. Like, I feel like I wouldn't do anything too differently, because something that I think that I've really come to value over the years compared to, like, maybe other people, like, in the space, like, say, like, CinemaSins, okay? Like, CinemaSins, that's such a weird example, right? Like, you guys can tell, like, what era of YouTube I was on, like, that developed, like, where my brain developed, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But, like, think about that. Like, you have to do the same format, that same, like, whole CinemaSins, like, format thingy. Like, that's what you have to do. But I feel like, whereas with me, I can up upload a song cover and like people don't yell at me. Like I can do a theory, I can do a discussion, I can do it. Like I feel like that I have a lot of like freedom, and that this channel was always built off of whatever I like, whatever I want to do. And so if I want to do a Disney video, like you guys will accept a Disney video. You guys won't be like, oh, where's my Attack on Titan, you know? Like I can do all of those things at the same time, and that's something that I really value, is that I didn't get locked into like a format necessarily. Like the, so this is basically this, or like, you know, the CinemaSins, type thing. And so I really appreciate that. In terms of genre, like if I had to do it differently, something that I do think about sometimes is like, oh, like should I really have like made something that relies so much on like copyrighted, content that can sometimes have like red tape around it. Like I try to do everything above board, right? Like I don't think that people come to my videos and they're like, I'm gonna watch this Shadows House episode for free because I'm talking for an hour about a vase in the corner and what the vase could possibly mean. You know what I mean? Like it's not exactly the best way to like watch the episode, you know? And so I think that my videos are like totally like fair use and above board in that way. I skip stuff all the time, and so it's like the most you're getting from Shadows House is it's literally a screenshot, 10-minute discussion, next screenshot. Like who's watching something that way, you know? And so I feel like that in that regard, like I'm pretty okay, like I'm pretty confident in my choices, but at the same time, like, you know, some companies don't always play fair, and even if you're in the right, like are you gonna like get a lawyer and fight it, right? And so that can just be a very complicated aspect of everything, that even if you like you're in the right and like you know that it's fair use, like, you know, that can be like companies can bully you sometimes, is basically what I'm trying to say with the current system that is in place. And so that's something that I tend to worry about a little bit, like, oh, maybe I should have done something else. And I think that if I had to do something like separate from Calxiyn, something that I've always found interesting would be like if I were to, you know, get a contract and travel abroad, because like I've already mentioned, I do musical theater, right? So I have the other channel, and so I'm always looking for like international performance opportunities and things like that. Like I would do like, this is my life in England, like Canadian in England. I'm kind of interested in that type of content, and so if I were to start completely over and I was in that position, I think that that would be fun. But the problem is, like me as I am right now, like I'm not vlogging anywhere. Like where am I gonna go? Nowhere, right? And so I feel like that, to be honest, if I did get an international contract, and maybe we'll talk about that later, I probably wouldn't be able to do Calxiyn anymore, right? And so not to freak you guys out at 30,000 subscribers, but if that did happen, I would probably prioritize posting on like another channel where it's like, hey guys, like this is my life in such and such right now. This is what I do in a day. This is like, you know, like some people also do like when they are in stuff like the Disney college program, they do videos of themselves going into the parks. Like if it was something like that, like I think that I would just do that instead. And so yeah, don't panic, okay? So yeah, I hope that that answers your question. So if I had to change it, either we would be a singing channel or we would be like a travel channel, I guess. I don't know what you would call channels like that, but in terms of like Calxiyn, like I can't imagine Calxiyn being anything else. Like this is what Calxiyn was always supposed to be, was the stuff that I'm interested in, right? And like these, you know, these are just all the things, these are just all the things that I love and I'm interested in, and I feel like that I'm not locked down to a format, that, you know, that I'm not beholden to a specific like series or anything. Like I just feel like I can basically, you know, do anything. I can do a singing video, I can do an analysis, I can do a theory. Like I feel like very free. So that Kaito Dan asked, what advice would you give to others looking to start making content? They also asked very similar questions, like what's your best tip for those who want to start making reaction videos, and then what is your advice to future content creators? So I'm just gonna kind of unify it. I think that from my perspective, I don't necessarily know if my method would work for everyone, of just kind of uploading whatever I feel like, right? Like I think that sometimes, even though earlier or maybe later, I don't know, again, I don't know which order I'm editing the questions, like in one of the other questions that Raijin asked, I think, I talked about this idea of I post whatever I want, and so I'm sort of like unhindered by the format that a channel like CinemaSins or like the Jello Apocalypse guy may have, where people expect a so this is basically, right? Nobody's like, Cal, where's the so is this basically from me, because I just post whatever I want. A singing video, a theory video, a discussion video. I don't know if that would necessarily work for everyone, and so I think I would recommend like kind of having ideas in your head of what you want to do exactly, like what what kind of format, what kind of genre before you get started. And that format and genre does not need to be set in stone. Like, you don't need to be married to it, right? But I think that that's always a good thing to think about, because something that I really think about sometimes is like, oh, I wish my reaction videos to Code Geass were in this new format now where I break down and analyze the entire episode, right? Or I wish Madoka had been like that. Like, I have some regrets about the formats that I used to use with anime, because like the reality is that those are my first time watches. Like, we're not getting those back. And even though like my Code Geass reactions are fine, they're just like the 30-minute timer and subtitle, or maybe not even subtitle, I don't know. Like the 30-minute reaction, you know, where you can sync up with me. Like, my reactions are still there, but it's that sort of like those sorts of things. Like, oh, I wish I could have done this in this format, or I wish I could have done that like that. Like, to minimize those regrets, I think that you should kind of have those ideas in place, but at the same time, you need to be flexible, and you need to understand that your first videos are probably not going to be that great. My videos weren't. Like, my old videos are still on the channel, and I had videos even before those, right? They're just like deleted, right? And so I think the first video that's like public on my channel is this like Kingdom Hearts analysis, and like all of these other like really old ones. And so you will obviously have growth, so don't feel stressed out about making something perfect, because you won't be able to do that. Like, you won't be able to make like the perfect first video. You kind of just have to get started. Like, you just have to get started and do it, but at the same time, it's like a little planning, but also a little like flexibility, and a little like when an idea hits you, like when you have that moment when an idea hits you, I would go for that, because I think that's been some of our best videos, when an idea just like hits us in the middle of the night. And so yeah, I guess that's the advice that I would give, is that you should put a lot of thought into it, but don't overburden yourself with so many thoughts that you are paralyzed to upload. Like, just get started in whatever like baseline format you have, or whatever genre you want to get into and everything. And I think that things will kind of go from there. And I would like to talk about this more in the future. Maybe this would be a little podcast topic, but yeah, that would be my advice. So 2 people asked a very similar question. How much do you enjoy being a YouTuber? This is Child, by the way. What's your favorite part of being one? And then somebody else said that, what is your least favorite and favorite part of being a YouTuber with a following? So it's a very like similar question. They actually said like, how much do you enjoy being a YouTuber? I would say like a good 8. I think that we're at a good 8. In terms of my favorite part, I think it is just like the community engagement of it all. Like, to make a theory video and to see people get excited, or to do a reaction and have you guys get excited with me, like that's sort of like the circle of excitement. Like, I post something, I'm excited about something, you guys get excited, you guys are excited about something, you tell me to post about it, I get excited. Like, I think that that's like so cool. Like, I think it's just so cool to see that cycle of excitement and like love and passion for these shows that we love. So I think that that's definitely like my favorite thing, just that I can post again. I think I keep going back to this because it's the most like kind of obscure one. I can post like a Barbie analysis video, and you guys like are like, yeah, let's do it, right? And like a lot of people have asked for more of those, right? And so it's just that sort of excitement about everything, about all these shows and these obscure things that I like. Like, I think that's definitely my favorite part, is that this is really just an outlet to share all the random stuff that I like. Like, obviously I have my core stuff like Ruby and stuff, but you know, if I want to make a Spider Riders or a Toontown video, like I'm pretty sure that some of you guys would show up and be excited about those things. And so yeah, I think that that's definitely my favorite part. In terms of my least favorite part, I think that Hunter and I will talk about this maybe in a podcast if we ever do one. I actually did do a podcast on Arnold's channel, and it's called The Price of Being a YouTuber, and we kind of talked about like all our like least favorite parts in that video, like all of our anxieties. Like, I feel like that there's obviously the anxiety of the back end stuff, like, is this video doing well? Is there copyright problems? Is there this? Is there that? Like, recently I've had a lot of nightmares about just waking up one day and my entire channel being gone, but I feel like that that's not necessarily about like being a YouTuber. I feel like that you would have that fear about anything that you love so much and put a lot of work into, like that fear that suddenly it could all just disappear. Like, I'm sure that singers have a fear about like losing their voices or something, or artists may have fears about breaking their hand, right? Like, I'm sure that other people have those fears in their profession too. It's not necessarily like just a me thing, but I think that like something that exuberates it or intensifies it, I guess that's something that intensifies it though, is like you hear these like horror stories stories of like, yeah, YouTube, like they did this and like I never got it resolved, and I'm just like, right? And so I hope that like I'd be able to, you know, get it resolved, especially we could make some noise with like the following that I have and everything. But yeah, and so I guess it's just the anxiety around it. Like I have a lot of anxiety. I think that there's also a lot of the time issues with people like thinking that they know stuff about you, or like I think that like rumors and gossip is a big thing, and that's something that I talked about with Arnold in that video, so I'm not going to get into it too much. But to have all these eyes on you and then like people just manufacture stuff about you, like it's just kind of weird. It's just something that I don't think that our brains are really like capable to handle, knowing how many people love you or how many people dislike you, and to see like literally everything that everyone's saying about you. I don't think that our brains were built to handle this type of like expression at such a high level. And I think that's why like to some extent you have a lot of YouTubers with giant egos, because I think that again our brains weren't like built to handle like thousands of people leaving us like this much positivity like for an ego boost. But at the same time, I feel like that's why a lot of YouTubers have mental health issues, because our brains were not built to handle like this many like bad comments or hate comments either. But like I don't know, it's something that like you need to just learn how to deal with, I guess, you know? Like it happens to everyone. Like I see so many people in the space posting about it. I think that like, I don't remember, I think it was Meg Turney posted about it, or like Jessica Negri, like saying that they would love to clear up like every single misconception about them, but they just like can't. And that sometimes people also don't necessarily act in good, in good faith. Like they don't act, how do you say it? I don't know how you say it, but they don't act like with good intentions. Like they're not acting with good intentions. They're being like almost malicious on purpose, or they don't actually want to clear anything up with you. They just want to be mad at you about something, and they just want a reason to dislike you. Like I feel like that you can just dislike someone. Like it's fine. You don't need a reason, or you don't need like, oh, well, I don't like this person and I need to justify it by saying that they're problematic or making up a reason why they're problematic or doing this or doing that. And so yeah, Arnold and I talked about that a little. You guys can watch our podcast about that, but I would like to talk about that more in the future. And that's why I think like Q&As like this ultimately help, because you guys are seeing me in a light that you may not necessarily always see me, I guess. Like, you know, we're not just yelling about things, we're not just analyzing stuff. Like I'm trying to give you guys personal answers from my brain, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, like that's just sort of something that I'm thinking about, is like this is a more grounded conversation with like Calxiyn and my thoughts and stuff. And maybe you guys just like don't necessarily like think about that often or get to see that often. And so I hope that through the podcasts that we're planning to do and like through videos like these, like we can kind of, I don't know, like I can just show more sides of myself, I guess. I guess that's the best way to explain it, is that I want to show more sides of myself. Because yes, like all that excitement, all that hype, like that is a part of me, but there are so many like other parts of me that people just seem to dismiss or like pretend that they don't exist. And so I would like to talk about it more. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed the Q&A. I guess I'll leave you off of that like weird little note. I hope that you guys enjoyed the Q&A. I had a lot of fun doing it, and you guys should definitely look out for if I do one of these again. Thank you for 35,000 now. I know this is 30,000, but now we have 35,000, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!